What is up, hooligans? This is Jay Hooligan from Hyde Hooligan Films, and we're doing another segment on vertical integration and why that is completely terrible for our industry. So, last video that I did, which was very, very long-winded, it was about a 38-minute long video that I did late at night. I just had this wild hair to say, hey, I'm tired of waiting. I want to get this whole idea of vertical integration out into the digital space so then people understand what's going on, because nobody seems to be talking about it. Now, in that video, I had mentioned how studios are utilizing the new media loophole, but I didn't really go too much into depth with that. So that's what we're going to be covering today, is that new media loophole. Alright, so here we go. Do not fault me for this. This is Wikipedia, I am aware. Alright, so according to Wikipedia, new media are forms of media that are computational and rely on computers for distribution. This is really important to understand, especially when it comes to understanding how they circumvented a lot of the old antitrust laws. So some examples of new media are computer animations, computer games, human-computer interfaces, interactive computer installations, websites, and virtual worlds. It goes on, new media are often contrasted to old media such as television, radio, and print media. Although scholars in communications and media studios have criticized inflexible distinctions based on oldness and novelty, new media does not include analog broadcast television programs, feature films, magazines, or books. And here's the caveat right here, if you can't see where I'm at on this. Bam. Unless they contain technologies that enable digital generative or interactive processes. Okay? That one. That. Okay? This is what I'm talking about, the new media loophole. Okay? Why is it now that Netflix and everyone can do streaming without any being hit on any antitrust laws, according to the Supreme Court ruling in 1948, which said that they cannot vertically integrate? Well, all those laws, all those antitrust laws were for physical media of the roles that they used to sell. Now, again, I talked about it a little bit, alluded to it. If you haven't done any research about it, there was a practice that used to go on called block booking. Okay, studios would book bunches of their movies that they would sell to theaters without theaters being able to review exactly what films they were buying. So again, they were getting the short end of the stick. And that's because studios own their own theaters, right? Pure vertical integration. They owned everything from the very beginning, right? The very beginning of the development all the way through post-production, and then their distribution as well. Okay? Disney Plus, Warner Brothers, doing HBO Max, right? That's everybody is moving towards there. I have still not seen anything on Viacom CBS that I mentioned on the last video to see if they've actually announced their new distribution model, but I'm still going to be looking out for that for sure. However, if you notice that on the last thing where it says, unless they contain technologies that enable digital, generative, or interactive processes. Well, you can all thank Netflix for that, because they were the first ones to do that. Once they started putting out Netflix originals in around 2010, that's when everything started to change. All the big studios took notice. They backed off. They didn't want to try to get hit. They didn't want to get hit with antitrust laws, so they vastly stayed away from streaming. Okay, because they already know what the laws were and they knew where they stood on it. So, how did this go, and how did it completely shift within the past few years? Well, not only did everybody start developing their own streaming platforms, but technology is what changed. Okay, Netflix used to be, when you streamed, it was purely on a computer. That's changed now. Now you can buy little devices that you plug into your TV, like Roku or Fire Stick or any of the other versions of it. And it even took it one step further. Now you have Roku TV. So all those protections that they were talking about, antitrust, protecting against, it doesn't apply to feature films and TV programs and whatnot. Nope, not any longer, because you have smart TVs, which are essentially acting as your computers. And it is now considered new media, and now they are not getting hit on that. So again, they've used a lot of this wording of what is included in new media to circumvent the antitrust laws, so then they can continue moving to make those power moves to remonopolize the film industry. Again, it sounds like a big claim, but you can purely see that in exactly how, again, Warner Brothers moving all of their 2021 slate of movies purely onto HBO Max, Disney Plus moving a lot of all their films, their tentpole films, onto Disney Plus. And again, I'll be looking at more, and we're keeping a careful eye on this because we want to be aware of any other companies that are starting to do this. Because again, if that's the trend and that's how it's going to be, that's a big problem. Now, I do also want to mention that there is still a way that they're trying to say, well, no, we're not really doing that, and that is through licensing. Licensing content to other platforms is kind of has always been their way to go. No. See, we're not vertically integrating. We license out to other ones. But again, with Disney pulling out Blu-ray and DVD sales from third party, their physical media that they're doing from last October, I believe it was, and with them purely just taking all their content out, because I don't know if anybody remember, but it was about 1 to 2 years ago, last year, the year before, Netflix was on this mad rush to try to gain content to fight that whole battle, because Disney was building their own platform to pull all their content out. Now, that didn't necessarily play out the same way that everyone thought it would. Netflix still had, I believe it was like the Marvel movies and stuff like that. In fact, Disney tried to take it and then it gave it back, and then it was moving right back to Disney Plus. So that's kind of their way to try to go, well, no, see guys, we're the good guys here. We're not doing anything shady. However, they're literally doing that by circumventing theaters and not putting that out there for other distributors. So, again, something to look out for. Alright, that's my video. I'm trying to make these quicker and more informative than that whole 38-minute one. Please forgive me on that one. Just so we can move along forward. But again, it is there. That is the new media loophole. Be on the lookout for it. Know your industry and become the best version of you. Alright guys, we'll see you later. Hey, thanks for checking out my video on here. If you like the content that I'm putting out, please be sure to like and subscribe down below and add a comment, because I'd love to see what your guys' thoughts are on this sort of content and these topics that I'm putting out there. Alright, until next time, stay golden.